So next, we're going to move on swiftly to Nicola Harrison from Bereco. She's the managing director of Bereco, and she is going to be discussing detailing new timber windows.
Good afternoon, everybody. Is this the clicker? Okay, so today, we're talking about new timber windows and their use in older buildings. So we're just going to cover, I'm just going to cover a little bit about myself and Bereco, some examples of replicating traditional windows. We're going to cover some glazing methods, types and glazing bars, and I'll touch on the hot topic that appears to have been slimline in the last few hours, as well as trickle vents, another thing that's mighty unpopular, as well as a little bit of timber types and finishes, and if we've got time at the end, some manufacturing and warranty information. So just a little bit about us. We've been in business for 20 years. We sell bespoke timber sash windows, casement windows, and the whole range of doors, bifold doors, patio doors. We operate in both refurbishment and the new build sector, more so in the new build sector. We've supplied quite a lot of windows in its 20 years, over 300,000. And we're all about sustainability. The mission of the business is to supply windows once and for those windows to last a lifetime. We're not looking to produce something that is going to last for 20 years and then the client has to replace it. What we're looking for is a product that is deconstructible, can be repaired, can be replaced, can be maintained, and it will then last a lifetime. This is not what we do. We are new windows, but we're not UPVC windows, we're not chunky frames, and we do try to replicate, and we don't set everything for landfill. So this is just a little bit of what we do. So this is an example in Scotland, Glentuim Castle, Grade B listed. This had a renovation because it was being turned into a hotel at the time, a while ago now. But in there, they incorporated slimline glazing. The objective was, the objective there was noise reduction and comfort for residents, as it was going to be a hotel. Those windows had a U value of 1.6. This is an example in Northumberland. This is Thrum Mill. We had good old George Clark down at this one, where the windows were replaced. Again, it was noise reduction. This stream outside is a torrent in the winter, and the noise from it is horrific. The clients wanted something that was going to reduce the noise of that river outside. Again, we actually used, what's happened there? Sorry, I'm not being very successful at this, am I? We actually used double glazed units here, 24mm double glazed units with a U value of 1.4. This is the High Street in Tenterton, built in 1865 or thereabouts, 24mm double glazed units with a 1.4 U value. Again, a high street, it was noise reduction. We also carry out domestic installations. This was a cottage completed 2 weeks ago for a client in Market Harborough. The objective of the clients was they were looking to Enefit. It was a low energy retrofit. 24mm double glazing went in there with a U value of 1.3. Here we've got Calverley Lane in Leeds. Here we've actually got 35mm acoustic double glazing in these sash windows. The traditional sash windows, they've got cords and weights, but they've got 35mm glass units in. This lovely home, when it was first built, probably would have been miles away from the traffic, but it now sits right next to the ring road. Those bedrooms were exceptionally noisy, and the clients needed something that was going to be true to the heritage of the property, but at the same time let them get a good night's sleep. And here we've got the coach house in Winchester. The guardhouse in Winchester. Again, 35mm triple glazed units went into these windows, sash windows, cords and weights, with a U value of 0.8. So, as you can see, new windows don't have to look thick and heavy. Timber windows in particular, we can replicate a lot of original detailing, and that's what we do. We might manufacture, we might produce a lot of windows. Certain companies do, like ourselves. We produce 200 to 300 frames a week. But still, we are manufacturing as closely as possible to them traditional details so that the before and after picture looks the same. Yes, there's be slight variations in the glazing because the glazing's used with there's a lot of variation in it. But we're there to retain the design of that property, the heritage of that property. We don't want to take away from it. There are us that we do care. So I just wanted to touch a little bit on new build. Now, I know this is not a new build conference, but I wanted to address the fact that new build, we're turning into a nation of box houses. What we should be building in this country is that. We shouldn't be building passive houses like boxes. What we should be building are traditional properties, and we're overlooking them, and we're building something that we're just going to look like we're going to be a nation of lemons, and it destroys me, absolutely destroys me. But this is what we can do with timber. This is what we can do with new timber windows. We can put it into new builds as well to keep building homes like that. So just a little bit about sash windows and the different profiles that we do in terms of replicating them. So we do a sash window that's 140mm from front to back. We do a sash window that's 168mm from front to back. And we do a sash window that's 192mm from front to back. Those different sizes and widths of window take the different sizes of glazing. So in the 140mm sash, we've got 6mm single glazing, 16mm narrow cavity double glazing, and then your 168, you've got 24mm double glazing, 32mm double glazing, and then in the 192, we go up to 35mm acoustic double glazing, which is a sound reduction of 47 dB, and a 35mm triple glaze unit as well. Casements and doors, we do both casement windows and French casements and entrance doors as well. We do the lipped casement, more your modern casement window, has a 73mm frame depth, but that will take 6mm, 16mm, 32mm and 35mm glass, just by varying the internal dimension of the glazing bead. The flush casement, a 92mm frame depth. Again, it can take all of those different sizes of glass unit. Glazing methods. So at Bereco and in a lot of the modern timber window companies, we internally glaze our windows. We internally glaze, and it's a drained and vented system. It's that way so that moisture can get out, the glaze unit is vented, and condensation doesn't happen as quickly. It extends the life of the glass units. So we offer a solid bar, but the solid through bar is 48mm at its thinnest. Everything else, we use a plant-on, stick-on astragal, as it's often called, and they go right down to 16mm. The companies that are interested in making the windows look as traditional as possible will use an integral spacer. And there you can see we're using an integral spacer. There's some examples on the stand that we've got over there. And I wanted to just talk a little bit, and I know Andrew's going to talk some more about glazing, but it's been mentioned a few times today about slimline glazing. So as a company, we only offer a 16mm slimline glass. The reason for that is because on anything smaller, we found that particularly the 3mm float glass, we saw a lot of breakage. And once it was in the sealed unit, we saw a high incidence of cracking. So we increased that to 4mm, and now we offer a 16mm slimline unit. However, in our experience, my experience, we see failure of those units incredibly quickly from what I would consider for a normal 24mm standard double glaze unit. On a double glaze unit, I could probably count on my hand the amount of condensated panes I've seen in 20 years, whereas with the slimline units, with the 14mm, the 16mm, the incidence is much higher. We see failure from anything from 7 years upwards. And in my opinion, I think if you're going to invest in new windows, I think going up from a 16mm unit to a 24mm unit, that 8mm is, whilst it's still 8mm, and it will slightly change the proportions of the glazing, I think there is a very big argument in terms of longevity. We don't want to keep replacing windows. We want to supply them once, and we want to make sure that they last. And for me, personally, in our business, whilst we do offer what we believe is the best option when it comes to slimline, we just don't see it as a long living product. So that's just my opinion on what we feel is the issue with slimline. Oh, there's one other thing to mention as well. Just when it comes to glazing, particularly in new windows, we've got Part Q coming for existing buildings. It's on its way, whether we like it or not. And Part Q is security in windows. Part Q is going to really amp up how those glazing units and those windows are constructed. My particular concern is around the glass, and glass being bonded in to window frames. Bonding glass into window frames is an incredibly bad idea because it can't be replaced. It's going to take away the whole idea of a repairable, deconstructible window. And for me, I think there needs to be some compromise. The consultation's still not released, but we'll see where that goes because I think it's going to have a big impact on existing buildings. Windows, clients are going to be looking for things like secure by design. They're going to be looking for past 24, and it's a high expectation for a traditional window to achieve. So I would just say look out for it. Look out for window systems where the glass is completely bonded into them frames. If that glazing bead is not removable, that glass can't be replaced, particularly if you're looking at a slimline unit. A slimline unit is going to fail quicker than a standard double glaze unit. They just do in our experience. And you're going to have a situation where you've got to replace them. And if that glass is bonded into that frame, you may have a problem. You may have to replace sashes. You may have to replace entire windows. So it's one thing to look out for, and it's going to be interesting to see how it develops and how, I suppose, us as manufacturers of windows react to that as well. So yeah, just one to bear in mind. Trickle vents. So I was asked to talk about trickle vents because the new building regulations came in, and Part F insisted that we start putting trickle vents into replacement windows in existing buildings. And yeah, whilst they're not very pretty, they're not the most sightly of things. And I think we've touched on it a few times over the last 2 days, we don't open as windows anymore. If we opened as windows, we'd be ventilating the places. If we don't open the windows because we're terrified of, and we need extra security, or we're next to a road and it's too noisy, then trickle vents, unfortunately, are a necessity. So, yeah, for me, it's one of those things where we have to do the best with it. So we conceal them as much as we possibly can. In the sash window, we step it through the head so that it's concealed, and in the casement, we step it through. I have got an example over on the table if anybody fancies a quick look at the vent detail through the head of a timber casement. So we try to disguise it as much as we possibly can, and there's quite a few ingenious designs out there now, but unless we can learn how to use windows, or we get back to using sash, which I thought was an incredible suggestion from one of the earlier speakers, then we are going to be left in a position where trickle ventilation is the only thing. Night vents, nobody will accept them. We put night vents on the windows, and they're not accepted as a form of ventilation. They've got to be trickle vents. And just quickly, just in terms of what most timber window manufacturers do, in terms of timber type and the finishes that we use. So softwood, generally redwood. I'd probably say the majority of new windows are made from redwood. You do get larch and you do get cedar variations as well. Hardwoods, European oak, Meranti, sapele, again, are quite common in terms of new windows. Certified wood, if a manufacturer or a maker of new windows is not using certified wood, then they want shooting. It should all be FSC, PEFC. It should be from a sustainable source, and we should know where we're getting it from. Treated, so we treat all as timber. It's water-based preservative treatment, and everything's factory finished. So it comes ready painted or stained, and it's only water-based coatings that we use. They're quite long life. They do last. We give a 10-year warranty on all of the paint finishes, as do most manufacturers of new timber windows where they're factory finished. Dual colouring's a good one just to mention. A lot of the companies that manufacture timber windows, we are quite specialist in terms of being able to dual colour. So different finishes, internal to external, frames to sashes as well. So that's a possibility that's quite easily done now with modern methods of production. And we got here, so I'll just have a quick run through. So this is just manufacturing of new windows in pictures, really. So we've got logging from the forest. We take it into the sawmill. It's milled, it's planked, and then it's kiln dried. So we dry the timber and we take it down to a moisture content of between 12 and 15%. We keep it at that constant level of moisture all the way through production, and it just makes it a lot more stable. We engineer the timber, so we cut out the defects, and then we finger joint it, and then we laminate it together into sections, laminated sections. And yes, we have machines. We do have machines for profiling. We have machines for sanding. We have those machines, because, and I think we've heard it a few times about shortage of skills. I mean, they're talking about there's going to be a shortage of joiners and carpenters in this country of something like nearly 50,000 in the next few years. The average age of a carpenter is 49 years old. There's nobody new coming into this industry that wants to work with traditional skills. It's very, very difficult. Recruitment as an employer is horrific. Trying to find anybody to work for our business on maintenance, repair, manufacture is incredibly difficult. So we do use machines. So like I said, they grade, they sand and they profile. We assemble frames and then they go into preservative treatment. So we're just investing in a new robotic arm that does all the spray painting. They come out of preservative, they're sanded. Once they come out of sanding, they're filled. They go back into painting for base coat. They come back out of base coat, they go back into sanding. So there's a lot of hand detailing on these windows, despite using a machine to do the profiling, to do the sanding of it in the first instance before frame assembly. We do keep hands on those windows, and we use a lot of joinery skills there at that point. We then go around twice with the paint, paint them twice, and then we're fitting ironmongery, glazing, and packaging ready for delivery. I think I whizzed through that, did I? Thanks ever so much.